Well, DEI is DOA at UNC. The Board of Governors repealed and replaced the policy. But why?
I have stated before, and I'll state again, I think that DEI is divisive.
My opinion is that DEI creates and exacerbates problems on this campus and doesn't solve them.
So they say the DEI office is divisive and isn't working. Let's explore that. Let's go in depth. So let's start with the obvious here, in the obvious spot. Does DEI work? What is the ROI on DEI? How has UNC tracked the return on investment since the office opened in 2019? Well, that's a bit confusing. So let's start with confusing thing number one, the cost, which no one really seems to know. There's a recent annual report from UNC. It includes the expenditures from the DEI office only at the Chapel Hill campus, and it comes out to $2.3 million. But system-wide, for all 17 schools, it is much more. And we have heard some big guesses.
I fully support what the UNC Board of Governors is doing in really getting rid of this wasteful spending for DEI. I've been told the figure is as high as $90 million in the system.
So that number, that $90 million number, it comes from an article by Open the Books. They looked at how many full-time UNC staffers have any DEI role, like professors who sit on committees but don't actually have a DEI title, and they don't show up on that annual report. So again, what's the cost? Well, somewhere between $2 and $90 million. Great, that narrows it down. Now, I will say $90 million does feel way too big since UNC is just at $2 million and 15 of the other 17 schools or other 16 schools are smaller. But when we asked for more specifics, for maybe a more detailed number, no one could give it to us because they don't know. The board says, in fact, that each university now has until September 1st to explain what they do, how much they spend, how much they can save, and what the school can do with those savings related to student success and well-being. Which brings me to confusing thing number two, the list of DEI programs, considering that most of them existed well before the DEI office was even created in 2019, like Project Uplift. That one dates back to 1969 as a way to introduce kids to college who otherwise wouldn't know what to expect. It gives high school students a one-day college experience. And this is an amazing stat. In this year's freshman class, 71% of the kids who went through that program and got into UNC are the first people in their family to go to college. That sounds like a success. That is a great ROI. But how much credit can we give to the DEI office for that? Well, it's hard to say. In fact, if we take another look at that list from Chapel Hill's annual report, of the 18 programs on there, 10 of them were already up and running for years before the DEI office was created. Partnerships with rural community colleges, pipelines to STEM careers, recruitment programs to put more medical professionals in rural areas, ways for lower income students to apply to college and get some financial aid. Naturally, though, we wondered, does the DEI office oversee these existing programs now, the way that they do with Project Uplift? We asked in an email and were told the programs you listed are under different departments across campus. Then why were they in the annual report? I told you, it's confusing. Also, if DEI goes, does it take all those long-standing programs with it? Are they gone too? Again, we don't know. In fact, we were told any speculation on the impact this has on specific jobs, programs, and employees is premature. So, for just a second, let's summarize. Without knowing what stays, what goes, how much it all costs, how much they'll save by making cuts, or the overall impact of these specific programs, or the DEI office itself, they already voted. Like a bad carpenter, cut first, then measure. Or you can consider this. I'm going to read you the two policies. One is the DEI policy from 2019. The other is this new policy approved today. In no particular order, I won't tell you which is which. One policy says this: the university shall continue to ensure that diverse persons of any background from North Carolina and beyond are invited, included, and treated equally. The other says the Board of Governors adopts this policy to support and facilitate efforts across the university to advance diversity and to foster an inclusive environment that engages, respects, and values all members of the university community. If you can't figure out which is which, it's kind of the point. The ideals are the same. We know that diversity, equity, and inclusion matter. How we pursue those ideals, well, that can be divisive. Let me know what you think. Diversity includes diversity of thought, of course, and I know a lot of you disagree with me often during these segments. I want to hear your thoughts. Please send me an email, dan@wral.com. Tell me what's on your mind, and we'll go in depth.